Mexico border, following a mountain bike route, which is pretty much all off-road. So yeah, it's going to take a few months to actually be there in December. So
you might see him cruising along down to Denali over the next couple of days on his bright orange surly troll with his 100 pounds of gear loaded on the back and his red panniers, his screwed up rear derailleur if he can't get it fixed in the next couple of days. Apparently a rock got jammed in there. But before we left for a little bit music break, we were talking about bears and how Alaska's infamous for world-known bear attacks, I guess, and how he had a little bit of a close encounter. So we'll just kind of pick up from there. What happened, Nick?
yeah, so I was up at sort of Yukon, where the haul road crosses the Yukon River, and I decided to sort of put in a good day of cycling. You know, I was quite looking forward to kind of perhaps sleeping in a bed after, you know, over a week already of sort of camping and eating probably not enough food. I mean, I was fairly malnourished, you know, for the amount of calories I was doing each day. Certainly wasn't putting enough in. Certainly lost a lot of weight since then. But yeah, so I sort of put in a good day. I probably put in you know, sort of 50, 60 miles that day, and you know, those hills are pretty full on. I don't know if anyone's sort of been up there. Well, I certainly found them full on. There's I think I sort of worked out, I climbed sort of over the course of the sort of 10 days, you know, sort of 1.5 times the height of Everest or something. That's what my odometer was saying. But anyway, so I did a sort of a good day and was starting to think about camping. But I thought, you know, first I'd sort of pull up a bit early and, you know, cook up my food. So you know, I wasn't sort of camping where I was cooking to avoid, you know, sort of attracting bears. And cooked a delicious noodle and salmon sort of dish. That
Wait. You were cooking salmon in bear-infested territories.
That's right. After sort of 7 or 8 days of barely seeing a bird, I did start to get a little bit complacent, I must admit.
You felt it was relatively safe to bust out some fillets of fish.
Yeah, I felt confident, and I've been talking to another bike tourer who said he claimed he'd been touring around Canada and Alaska for years, and he'd never had any trouble with bears. And he was saying, I thought it was all hype, and you know, I sort of doubted that, but you know, I guess I felt a bit relaxed. But I wasn't taking any kind of any risk. I was still sort of adhering to all my kind of rules that I do. So, but then after I ate, I sort of cycled off up the hill at the 2 miles an hour, that sort of top speed that I could manage, and got about sort of halfway up, and I saw a nice little patch of grass to sort of camp on, and about 30-40 metres off the road, and thought, fantastic, because I hadn't seen anything for a while. Set my tent up, you know, made sure there was nothing, yeah, put my sleeping mat in there, made sure there was nothing that, you know, a bear could smell and sort of be attracted to, you know, and then started wheeling off my bike. You know, and I was about sort of 20-30 metres from my tent, and I suddenly could hear I could hear noises coming from my tent, and my heart sort of leapt, and I was like, holy, you know, what is that? Turned around, I couldn't quite see my full tent, but I could see it bulging and sort of being like mangled, like the sort of tent infrastructure, those sort of poles. I thought, oh my god, I hope that's not a human. I mean, I think that would have been even more scary. But you know, I kind of looked around the trees and saw, you know, this bear, and I couldn't really see if it was a black bear or a grizzly, but it was certainly, you know, inside my tent, shredding it to pieces and pulling out my sleeping bag and that sort of thing. So I started edging towards the road. I mean, obviously you're never supposed to never ever run from a bear, because that kind of excites and encourages them, as I'm told. I thought I'd sort of try to flag down perhaps a vehicle to get some support. Yeah, as I did that, the bear kind of followed me, and I thought, oh, Jesus. But I then saw there was no hump and realised it was a black bear. So my kind of understanding of that is that you can pretty much scream and shout at them and throw things at them and to try to scare them off. Not quite the same reaction with a grizzly, but it sort of backed away and actually went back to my tent. And sort of now knowing there was a black bear, I headed back as well. And it kind of had another go at my tent, and I was sort of screaming and shouting, and it kind of nonchalantly walked over to me. That's probably like sort of 10 foot away. I didn't have my bear mace on me, unfortunately. I was in my tent, and sort of sniffing the air, and I thought, right, okay, what should I do here? I was trying to make myself as big as possible, screaming at it. It was just had no fear of me whatsoever. Probably quite rightly so.
Nick's a pretty big guy. How tall are you? 6'3", 6'4",
Yep.
right around there.
6'3", 6'4".
He's got a shaved head and a beard. He looks like a biker, but a motorbiker. He just needs a few tattoos, and he'd probably fit in the Hells Angels if he so choose to do so. So, you know, if he popped up on me with his arms spread out, screaming profanities, I'd probably run away. But apparently, a bear not so much.
Well, that's that probably does describe me a bit there. And so the bear actually started heading off towards my bicycle, and I thought, I really don't want it to do anything to all my food was on there and everything, but, you know, obviously I didn't want it to do anything to it. And unfortunately, my camera was with my bicycle as well, but I didn't want to alert it to the presence of it. So I kind of didn't go near it. But my mace, as I was saying, the pepper spray was in the tent, so I waited till it was like a good sort of 10, 20 metres away from the tent, as it was sort of wandering around the camp sniffing for food. Managed to grab my pepper spray, which was actually inside my tent. Luckily, it ripped open a hole for me, so it was pretty easy to get. And suddenly I felt a lot more confident. And it came back over and you know, sort of again sort of sniffing the air and just blatantly just had no fear whatsoever. It was within sort of 10 feet or so, and I thought, right, I had a good aim, gave it its last chance, but then it refused to move, so I gave it a quick blast of pepper spray, and I'm pleased to say the stuff works, because it sort of ran off immediately over this edge down, which is a sort of 30-foot drop, pretty steep sort of scree sort of section. And I sort of peered it, I sort of let it go, and I thought, oh my, what do I do now? And my tent was mangled, I had nowhere to sleep. So I started sort of packing up my tent, and you know, sort of all the time thinking, right, because it can take half an hour at the best of times to sort of, you know, pack up a loaded touring bicycle, and it's, you know, sort of time I didn't really have or want to sort of, didn't really want to waste time, so put all my stuff up on the road, went back for my bicycle. When I was there, I had a quick peer over the edge, and sure enough, the black bear was sitting there, staring up, probably sort of trying to summon up the courage to come up again and face the pepper spray. I went and grabbed my bicycle, walked over the road, packed all my stuff up, and started, and then realised I forgot my helmet, but I left that there. I decided it wasn't kind of worth getting, along with a lot of goose down from my sleeping bag after the bear had sort of slashed that open. So I was sort of halfway up the hill, and I wanted to obviously sort of head the direction that I wanted to cycle. I didn't want to go the wrong way, and started cycling up with my pepper spray in one hand. And bear in mind all the time, this is like 1 a.m. By this time. It's actually pretty dark there. It's about mile 22 on the sort of Dalton Highway, and I had literally, and there's another sort of mile or two of slow cycling uphill, you know, all the time, sort of turning around to make sure it wasn't sort of following me. And I got to the top of the hill, and there was a sort of quite open area, and there was a sort of truck sleeping there, and I thought, right, I'll just get my tarp out and see if I can get some winks before it gets light. It wasn't safe to sort of keep cycling, and basically lay there getting feasted on by mosquitoes, one eye open with my bear mace in my hand, clutched to my chest. And just looking forward to daylight.
I'm sure you didn't sleep a whole lot after your near death experience from hand by a black bear.
No, there was definitely no sleep after that.
So I would imagine that's pretty hard to top as the most exciting portion of your trip. So was there anything else that you think worth mentioning? Hey, question for you, Nick. What was in your tent that you think that he might have gone after? Just a word to the wise out there.
Well, I think I did actually have some mosquito coils, so I don't know whether it could smell that. They weren't alight, but they would just happen to be in this bag, the small little bag that I had. That was the only thing I could think of, that could potentially make him go in the tent. But that was pretty much it. And I mean, perhaps I was just sort of thinking about it. Maybe I got ready for the next day, and I was sort of putting food in the sort of sealed panniers, sort of nearish to the tent. Maybe it could sort of smell that. But I think it was really just, I think it was a sort of habituated bear that, had been associated food with tents and had previously been successful in getting food. Not in this case, I'm pleased to say. He didn't get anything, not even the mosquito coils. So
he did get a little bit of your tent, a little bit of your sleeping bag. It sounds like, though.
Got a bit of goose down probably on him. I don't know. Maybe it was that it attracted to him. I don't know.
I would imagine a goose sounds pretty tasty to a bear.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I've never read anything about goose down, so I'll have to research that, and we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, it's packed in there pretty tightly, pretty clean. I would imagine it's not putting off too much smell, but that's just me. So we're gonna take another break, listen to some music. We got Mr. Nick in here. He's biking from Prudhoe Bay to the Mexican border over the next few months, and I believe he has a website. He's blogging about his trip. If anybody's interested, what's your website if anybody wants to take a look at it?
So I've got to put the update on the bear story and the Hall Road, but please do have a look. It's basically my name, so Nicholas Gault, NicholasGault, .wordpress.com. So WordPress is an application you can use to set up a website easily if you're not familiar with that. So you can either just type that into Google, just Nicholas Gault and then WordPress, and it should come up, or type that as a URL.
As you may be able to tell, that Nick's pretty good with telling stories, and he does happen to have a few cameras with him. He has his cell phone, and he has a little GoPro camera. I don't know. Do you have anything else with you?
Yeah, those are the two, and I've got some good footage of the road. Unfortunately, I didn't catch the bear, but I've got some footage. I've got some photos of the shredded tent, which I'll be posting up there later today. Could be of interest.
Yeah, so if anybody's interested, that was Nicholas Gault at our .wordpress.com, right?
That's right, yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break for some more music of Nick's choice. So
put the air one on me.
We're gonna play some air. Not dead air. Just
nice chilled out one.
Some good instrumental air for 7 minutes and 11 seconds. We might cut it short, come back and talk a little bit more. We'll figure this out.